How's it going? This is SimCity 4. I made 2 videos about SimCity. One of them was specifically the community around SimCity 4, because surprisingly, this game is now 20 and a half years old. And also, believe it or not, this is supposed to be like the 10th time I've tried to record this fucking video. It is just annoying, but yeah, last time I tried to record this video, for some reason, I ran out of hard drive space and it just corrupted the MP4 file. So, yay, that's fun. Anyway, this is SimCity 4. This is my region. Some of these cities may actually look a little familiar because of the B-roll that I used in the SimCity 4 video, if you've seen that. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk about my region here. I'm actually not too sure when I start playing this region in particular, because each city kind of just developed really fucking slowly. Like, I probably could have done something quick with this, but I really didn't, like, care enough to do that. Now, the interesting issue with this region is I'm pretty sure I have reached a point where I think I may have, like, reached an integer overflow or something, because a lot of these cities just don't grow anymore. We already see that the population of the region is about 15 million. Now, I know that there are regions that can get so many more people in them, but I really don't know what the fuck happened with this region, because I think somehow there's either, like, so much demand that's being registered as zero demand, or something odd. Because, yeah, I've tried fucking about with, like, residential caps, commercial caps, all that, which basically you can build parks and it increases some variable in the game that lets you actually have more buildings get built. And I have been able to release some of the demand that's been built up through here in various different, like, project type of cities. But then you end up with something like, say, Southwest Advantage over here, where if I load it, which will probably take a moment, but this was supposed to be like the industrial sector of what was supposed to be a 3x3 megacity, or just a city, because each of these tiles is about 4 kilometers wide, I think. So it would have been a 144 square kilometer city. That was the idea I wanted. I also wanted to do kind of a, like, Wall of Berlin type of thing with this city. I figured that that would be a really interesting, like, challenge to try and build in this region. Still haven't really gotten that far. You can see the region was only half filled. Why is it taking so long? Oh, it's because it's a 32-bit game. That's right. Yeah, so very solid infrastructure. I mean, there's a lot of avenues, a lot of highways. There's actually probably way too many fucking highways. You can see that there's a fuck ton of traffic. But the moment I hit play, it's just, yeah. I mean, there's nothing really happening. All I was able to really get to build here were some farms. I had to put in these factories manually, pretty much. Actually, I think these grew naturally, and then they just stopped. And, yeah, the only thing that remains is agricultural demand. So, this is the biggest problem I'm having with this region, is, I think just having way too big of numbers being ran through the game. Because, as an example, I might be able to show it on this tile. No, but I can definitely hint at it. So, you see how there's, like, 13,000 buses that travel on this expressway, and then 14,000 cars, and then there's another 17,000 going the opposite way? This is actually, like, a really solid expressway. This would have a considerable amount of traffic going through any city. Well, here's the deal. Let me show you this rail line. Now, I'm going to avoid hovering over that rail line and instead just show you the amount of traffic on this road. Okay? And you see all these people that are just walking by these farms? Alright, now let me show you the funny thing, okay? There are 26,000 pedestrians taking this road. That goes up to 32,000. And in fact, if I click on this subway station, there's 65,000 people taking this subway station. And if I go underground, it reaches the... Now, this number, if you don't know, is, I think, the maximum number that a 16-bit integer can reach. Because you have 0, and then the maximum number would be 2 to the 16 minus 1, because you need the placeholder, obviously, for 0. If I'm remembering it correctly. I don't know if the integer number is supposed to also include negative numbers. I can't remember if that is just something you can set. But yeah, no, I mean, this is one of those magic numbers where this, if it goes up one more, it flips back to 0. So, yeah, the game is fucking struggling, is what it is. And yet, if I hover over this station, you can see that it actually can render a number and process a number that is bigger than that number. Almost double as much. But then I click on this one train station and, oh geez. Yeah, 170,000 people. So, yeah, that is the most interesting aspect of this region is, we'll go ahead and go back to the region because I'm going to show you this. So, you have this city that was meant to be the industrial city that everyone is commuting into to then leave to then go into this city down here called Portishead. Now, everyone coming from this city goes into here to go down here, and I think some of them actually then go back into this city because there is so much fucking traffic on this one road that connects the two that it is... Oh, shit, no. Let's not do that. Yeah, that would have been bad. Now, this city I've actually used before. It was the city I was building when doing the SimCity 4 community video. Now, what I want to show you is, you see how this monorail, metro rail, whatever the hell, has about 40,000 people using it? Alright. Here we go. See all these buses that are just coming through the, coming into the city, onto this kind of avenue? It's a highway, but I basically just did this so there would be an increased network connection. Yeah. Oh, wait, and here's that one road from before, with all the pedestrians. Yeah, so people are leaving to go in, and then there's so many people that this just isn't even detecting for some reason. That's odd. Yeah, 250,000 people use this every day. So, interestingly, I have built a very car-reliant infrastructure for this region with all these expressways and everything. And yet no one really uses them because they just take the train, which, again, has reached maximum capacity. And hey, I am actually a big fan of that, because that was something I was wanting to do with this whole region anyway. It's just really funny seeing all of these maxed out, like, things in this fucking game. That one's not maxed out. What about, I'm trying to see where some of these are. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Oh yeah, by the way, this tile right here that is really hard to actually hover over, yeah, this also has maximum capacity, where everyone is getting to the station to then go into the other city. Or people are coming from that city to then go into the other city. Like, it's both ways. So that was the main point I wanted to make, where there are people that are going effectively through 3 cities to get to work instead of just going to 1. And that keeps happening. Oh, what the hell? When did this happen? Jeez. They must really like this style, huh? As the city struggles to load in on my NVIDIA 3070. Come on. As the game struggles to load... There we go. So that is a thing that is very common in this region, especially in this western section over here. Because if you notice, there actually is a lot of farmland, but then you just have it immediately next to a bunch of high-rises. Now, the story behind this is, initially, I started off just wanting to do a huge agricultural sector here. Hell, the idea is, like, all of this to just kind of become agriculture. But I wanted to then grow it naturally, where you'd have all these farms where some people would live out there because it's their land. And then over time, developers would buy up the land, plat maps would be put out, and so on and so forth. And yeah, the idea would be that you'd have some little, like, towns that would develop, and then they'd become cities, and then suburbs would start to be built, and then those would get, like, demolished and turned into, like, mid-rise apartments and whatever. That is what I wanted to do with the farming area. However, I kind of had to accelerate that, because there was a fuckload of residential demand, especially once I started building a lot of parks. So, now that I've shown you the weird commuting thing, let's actually go through each of these cities, because I think that they are probably the most interesting part. I'm not going to go through every city, because a couple of these cities kind of just suck. Like, there's this one city right here that you can kind of see what I was trying to do, and yeah, it was really stupid. There's this city here that has a volcano crater in the middle, and is kind of stupid. There's this city here that has a big-ass building that is completely abandoned, and is kind of stupid. And then here is... and then here is another city that is actually just what the fuck. So instead, I'm going to just focus on these cities and then give you a like road tour, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, so we're actually going to start with this city called Basel. And this city was one of the first ones I built, because what happened was I finished up Portishead, which Portishead I was trying to design after like some New Hampshire towns, because one thing that is a little interesting that I noticed whenever I've visited New Hampshire is that you'll just have a lake in the middle of the mountains and then a town near it or on the lake, and that is their entire tourism industry. So I wanted to do a similar thing with Portishead, but then a lot of people started moving in and it just became a city. But still cool, no less. And eventually what I did was I took that expressway and continued to build it through here. Now, originally, this was like an avenue that just went down to a single-lane road, which actually would have been on this tile right here, I think. No, it wasn't. Actually, hold on. There's a thing I can show, probably, if it's still here. No, it's not. Fuck. There was a way that I was designing all the roads to allow for expansion, where I had... actually, I can demonstrate right here. So imagine this is a road that I was building. What I would do is I would put streets here. That way, people that walked on the farms would just go to these streets. But then I would keep specifically a rural highway, real highway, whatever it's called. Yeah, real highway. Track in the middle for trucks to get onto and go like 70 miles an hour. And the idea was that I would then later upgrade them to these big avenues that you get from the NAM mod. And it actually worked out very well. And in fact, if I hit play, you can see that there is a lot of traffic out here. But yeah, I mean, this is like an absurd amount of traffic to be going through this rural area, but it's fine. I mean, it's just big roads that go everywhere. But one thing I was doing is I would have, for some long stretches of road, I'd actually put in expressway, just so that traffic could go faster. Now, you remember that loop that I showed you where people were commuting into the city to then go to the next city and so on and so forth, even though the city that they're coming from is like down here? So, yeah, luckily you can see that's not happening here. The loop is not happening at this moment. But there was actually a traffic loop that was happening on this road, and then go into the next city. We have this road and then another road that was like here. Go into the city tile that's over here. This city, You just had traffic that kept looping, and I'm pretty sure until I updated all the maps and went in like clockwise order, I'm pretty sure that the cities were like thinking, oh yeah, there's all this traffic here that's going to a city that you can get to over here. Okay, so we have all these commuters coming in that just have to go over here. Then this city was thinking, oh cool, we have all these commuters here that just have to go over here. And then this city was thinking, oh yeah, all the commuters here just have to go over here. And then here, they're like, oh cool, we have a huge influx of traffic. Now they can just go here. And I'm pretty sure that ended up somehow just, like, inventing traffic out of nowhere. because they would keep adding one, right? So this pretty much was just an infinite loop of traffic that was going between the cities until I somehow managed to break it. That, like, I can't prove that, unfortunately, but that was just the weirdest thing that happened, and probably the funniest thing because of me kind of breaking the programming for a second. Because it really did take until I, like, upgraded this road and had to cut off traffic to then have it reprocess that I decide, oh yeah, no, we don't need to do that. Whereas now we kind of have traffic that makes more sense, even though this is only showing the truck layer. Now, one thing you may have noticed is the fact that there's just a massive fucking city here, and perhaps even the zero demand. This is what I'm talking about, where, like, the game just has, for this entire region, no demand. Like, it doesn't want to build any commercial, doesn't want to build any industry, doesn't want to build any residential. But it's like, well, what's the solution here? Right? Like, how do I get, like, do the cities just not want to grow at all? Because there's still all this zoning here. Surely there's, like, a birth rate in this region, that there's going to be more people, and then they're going to want more housing, they're going to want more whatever the fuck. Or is the idea here that we're supposed to just get rid of, like, 10,000, like, poor people? In which case, I mean, you realize how terrible of an idea that is, right? So, in short, yeah, this is, and then even, like, agriculture isn't growing anymore, which is just insane. But, yeah, that is this. Now, just to give you the traffic, real quick. So, this was probably the most interesting thing to happen in this whole region, in this whole city with the traffic, where there's so much fucking traffic here. A, doesn't render, but also B, I had to build a very specific ramp here, and then I had to upgrade it to allow for a rail to go by, because so much traffic was just coming from the city down here to get onto Expressway 2. So, just so you're oriented a bit. North is this direction, okay? So, on Expressway 2, this was actually a pretty substantial project they had to do, because it was very easy to just put in Expressway 2 when there was nothing. But having to then, like, retrofit it through some cities that already existed, also cities that were using my old sort of approaches to how I wanted to design shit, it ended up kind of making this situation where there's some old shit that's in these cities, but also this newer shit that I'm doing. On top of also just the fact that the network add-on mod has changed over time. So as an example, this I think I did maybe right before the most recent update, or I just didn't upgrade all the way, but the most recent update of NAM, because there has been a new update just a couple months ago, added in 6-lane single-side expressways. So the maximum used to be 5, and it has been 5 for at least a decade. Well, they upgraded it to 6. And so I almost put that in right here just because of the merging traffic, but I decided no. Nah, I want there to be just 6 lanes in total, not 12. But no matter, that is a new thing that exists, so I imagine in the future, if Expressway 2 does get a lot of traffic on it, I will probably have to upgrade stretches of it to the proper, like, to a higher lane count. Now, here's the deal. There used to be, like, that was actually the idea for this tile here, but you're going to notice that there is an expressway and a big-ass road that actually has more lanes on it. And that was kind of an unfortunate thing that happened, because when I tried to have like a 4-lane instead of 2-lane road going through, right here, it actually connected these network connectors, because you need these special pieces with NAM for these to actually function, where these are like neighbor connectors. You can see how there's the arrows here, yeah. You can't really see on this one, but there is a piece here. It was connecting where basically traffic was coming from. It was viewing all 7 tiles as one big fucking connector. So traffic was just getting scrambled. You had traffic that was going here and then ending up on the expressway, or traffic that was on the expressway that ended up on the main road, just to avoid a toll booth. And yeah, there is actually a toll plaza over here, which I will show right now. But first, I just want to comment on the industrial. This was a pain in the fucking ass to set up, because I needed to put some dirty industry here. The other shithole wouldn't want to develop, so I ended up just putting a bunch of coal mines and shit here to lower that demand. And somehow managed to soon after, because of all of this, actually have pretty much a, like, tech capital of the region, kind of. So that's cool. Yeah, but anyway, we are done looking at this city. Let's go to the next one. So here we are in the next city. Again, to orientate you, I will show you where the expressway is. So, Expressway 2 East, Expressway 2 West. Now, as you can see the remnants of how I was going to build this, and yeah, this was going to look so fucking stupid. But you can see how the traffic got scrambled, where it basically wasn't going to have anyone traveling on the expressway, which would have sucked. Now, at one point, because I think something has happened with the traffic in this city where it just rerouted to somewhere else, I'm not even too sure where the fuck. But there used to be a lot of traffic on this road right here. So we have this main road which goes through 3 different cities at the moment and probably will go through more as time goes on. In fact, this was actually one of the first stretches of road where I did this kind of thing. It says there's only 97 cars on this. I find that unlikely with the amount of cars we just saw. But anyway, yeah, you can see how this was built where this was the first time that I did this like conversion to a higher speed road. And you can also see the design sensibilities are exactly the same as the other city. Except we have a wall of the same like jade green building. So, one thing that I will also point out, because this was a new feature in the network add-on mod, are actually these pedestrian pathways, which are pretty fucking awesome. So, I also put in a grid-based subway system, okay? Which is why there are so many people. This is probably the reason why there's no traffic anymore, is because of this, or these few connections with the subway. So, now one limitation with this network I'm going to show you is that it doesn't let you go under all networks. Like, it kind of fucks up with the metro rail. It doesn't know that's just a pedestrian path. But the cool thing with this is that these are just pathways for people to walk on, and that is all that they do. And it's really awesome. You just convert streets to it, and you can do this. Now, the reason why it's green, like grass pathways, is because originally these were suburbs. And then I was like, I don't need to upgrade that. I'll just put in high-rises. So, I'm pretty sure that, like, half of the workers in this city somehow just work in cleaning. You have half that are janitors, you have a quarter that are janitors for the whole building, you have, like, an eighth that are maids that are for hire, and then you have whatever the hell else. I don't know, someone that does, like, window washing and all that. Because I imagine there is, like, there has to also be a lot of people that are just hired to do lawn care as well. Because imagine, like, this wouldn't be grass. This would just be dirt and mud. And given that we're in a city, it would just be mud. Because it's not like that shit's ever going to evaporate with all this concrete here. Anyway, yeah, a little bit of a tech center here. Actually, the original tech center was over here, but it kind of just collapsed in on itself for no reason. I don't know why. But we actually get to the western coast of the region. So this is something I'm kind of a sucker for, that I just wanted. I like having roads next to water like this because you can end up with some pretty cool things. Over time, these farms will become more city. But what I want is, I want to have, like, commercial and housing and all that overlook the water. Even though there's a lot of polluted water here because we needed some way to do trash management. And there is space for a pending 3rd nuclear reactor. I think this all worked out pretty decently. Now, what I'm going to do, and just take a note of this, because we'll go on the full Expressway 2 trip in a second, but you'll notice that Expressway 2 begins to end, where you have a lot of traffic that is just trying to get to the surface streets, because Because no one's, like, as you can see, there's no one getting onto the expressway to go this way, because it's kind of pointless to do that. So the idea here is that this expressway ends up actually taking you all the way to the ocean. And then you get onto this road that is another expressway, and that's how it is. Originally, by the way, this actually was 2 avenues next to each other, and I decided, hell no, and fixed it. Now this one I did manage to have a bunch of residential demand in, but then I flatlined it. Oh no, wait, there is still some demand here. Okay, that's cool. You can actually make out where... You can actually make out the originally design for the big roads where, yeah, the idea again is have these smaller roads and then these bigger roads that have more traffic on them, and then later upgrade them. So here is the coastal road. I'm using the monorail to like do some slope stuff. And unfortunately, no one fucking uses this, which pisses me off, because why the hell wouldn't you use this? This is the much cooler, like, wouldn't you rather see the ocean than, like, a cow? I'm pretty sure that the ocean's a lot cooler than a bunch of cows. And yeah, I'm doing the thing where I just was like, yeah, fuck it, build some high-rises if you want, I don't care. If all these people just want to smell manure in the morning, then more power to them. And you can see how the slow progression of the upgrading of this road goes, where I pretty much, if I could, I would just put a bunch of cones here to close off these lanes, so that no one just ends here and goes, like, into a ditch. Yeah, I mean, that's just how this is. There's nothing to really comment about this, because I just did a copy-paste design of cities. I wanted to see how far I could get with that. And then I managed to make the game no longer want to build any more cities. And there is a fair bit of traffic that does take this. Mostly buses. Almost exclusively buses. And you can see why there's this special exit here. Because... yeah, I had this stupid idea and then it just didn't really work. So, we are not going to look at the roundabout of disappointment. So this city is meant to be, like this one I actually wanted to grow kind of slowly. It also didn't have a lot of demand in it, but yeah, you can see that I'm slowly converting the suburbs to really shitty looking apartments. But there is a fair bit of traffic that actually does commute through this city. So over here's the city that we started with. Over here's the city we were just at. And now I'm going to show you a city that I haven't actually mentioned yet. Or really, the what the fuck here. So, this city that is over here was one of my planned designs where I just wanted to make a pattern and fill it with residential and whatever the hell. And it turns out a lot of those people just commute out into this city for some reason. But the problem is that the game is pretty shit when it comes to actually being able to calculate what paths actually go anywhere. So you kind of just have to connect up all the roads that get connected through the neighbor feature. And the reason for this, if I had to guess, is because the city only calculates what is a valid route to place that has job. So if it knows there are jobs open here, it will send traffic equally to this, etc. Now on this side, the game knows how much traffic is going through here, okay? Like how much traffic is waiting to cross the border. But it doesn't know how to network it if it doesn't actually connect to any kind of like transportation network. So what ends up happening is if you only have one road, but then you have all of these roads, I guess. This is at least what I was figuring out, and it took like 15 minutes to figure this out. Basically, you would have like a tenth of the traffic that was going through if you only had the expressway, whereas you are missing out on all of this other stuff. So in reality, what I have to actually do is something like this. And then, I guess, something kind of like that. And you'll see in a moment, so that's 1,700. This whole road is 13,000 because it's all bottlenecks together. All of this will now, in a moment, actually be connected, and then there'll be even more traffic, because now the city is 100% connected. least it should if those connections actually matter. Yeah. Looks like no one's commuting from over here anyway, but... Yeah, see, it actually did go up by 5,000 when I did that. And then this, see, it went up like 4 times. Yeah, see? Look at all this fucking traffic. So that is an interesting SimCity 4-ism that exists. And again, this is the one city builder that actually has been able to do, like, tiled cities that are connected and all that, so... Unless, say, Skylines 2 announced something new that I missed. I've been busy the past, like, week or so, so I have actually missed any kind of new news on that front, if there's been any. Yeah, I mean, this is... Obviously, in a real-world situation, people would take the fucking expressway, but... No one wants to do that. Instead, they want to take the tiny-ass little road, merge all into this piece of shit-looking thing. Let me see if I can even fix this bullshit. Hold up. Yeah, this is about to be real fucking fun. I want to see... I want to just see the fucking hellhole that this is going to generate. Yeah. Look at that. There should be 15,000. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. I have made the world's worst roundabout simply because of all the traffic that goes through it. You know what? Here. Yeah, this is how we're gonna do this. And actually, what I'm going to do here... Man, I'm kind of disappointed no one's taking the Bollock roundabout. That's a shame. Damn. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you either have to go through 5 roundabouts, or you just have to go through this monstrosity. Okay, yeah, I think I think I've had enough fun dicking about with that. So, next city, yeah. So this city's just pointless. It's another commuter city that actually connects a, I think 1.2 million SimCity to, I guess, this city. I don't know where the fuck they go. Alright, here's the next city. This is directly north of like 3 cities ago. This is continuing up the coastline. And this is probably one of the most developed cities as well. So, do you remember that rail line that had like 100 million or 1,000, whatever the hell amount of people riding on it? Yeah, this is the start of that rail line. It starts here in the industrial zone, and you can see exactly how I've upgraded this big road where there are exits in the middle, and again, traffic circles, because why not? And it is actually a lot of traffic as well that goes through this area, mostly trucks. And it all ends up just running along the coastline. Now, you'll notice that this city's actually empty, and yet there's, well, relatively empty, and loading like shit. And yet has 600,000 people in it. Yeah, I was wanting this to become a city with like 4 million people in it. Because my idea is that I wanted to figure out how to build a, like, very dense city that still had some cool shit in it. Instead of just, oh yeah, here's like me zoning. No. Here is an actual planned city that somehow managed to get 4 million people. And the thing is that I kind of achieved like a vague idea of it, because if you look at the area, look at how much 600,000 is, and then fill in the rest on just like this side of this big road. And you can easily get close to 2 million. And everything else here, you could easily get beyond 3 million, 3.5 million. But again, very little, if any, residential demand except for high wealth, which is kind of okay, but it's not really the best, so yeah. It's very annoying. It's very annoying. But here is the start of another expressway. This is expressway, I don't know, 106. And this is actually this expressway is kind of important because not only does it go under the city a little bit, as the game freezes, not only does it go under the city a little bit. What the fuck? What the hell is this? Okay, fuck you. I want my road back. As I was saying, so this expressway actually is the expressway I showed at the beginning of this video that had all the traffic on it. And as you can see, there is a fair bit of traffic that does use this. It's just all on this side of the city because there's nothing really over here. And unfortunately, because of me just building the massive fucking roads, everyone who works over here actually takes the subway. Yeah. Now, this subway system is technically connected to the other cities I showed you, but you can see that it is absolutely maxed out, pretty much. 60,000, integer overflow. Yeah. I have made a region that is completely reliant on mass transit for the most part, with really it being the inverse problem where the trains are so crowded that people have to drive, instead of the expressways are so crowded that people have to take the train. It's kind of a dream come true. I've wanted something like that in SimCity for a while, and it might be a setting I enabled by accident with the network add-on mod, or it might just be a product of my fantastic city planning, and I should be mayor of, I don't know, like New York, I guess, or Toronto. Can an American even be mayor of Toronto? Surely there's like a requirement where any politician in Ontario has to actually be a citizen, right? Anyway, that's all I gotta say about this city. You can see I was pretty much just copy-pasting the design until I ran out of people to house. Now here's another 4 million city that I'm going to go ahead and load, because you're going to see that this is even better planned. This has 1 million people in it, and there is plenty of room to expand. This could easily be like a 5 million city as well if I just gutted everything else. But I wanted to do some cool shit here, so as an example, my idea in the future is to eventually just put like anything kind of around this rail line, see what I can do. Pretty much do the big blocks and then go in and do some finer details. And this is a huge commuter city as well, because no one works in this city. Except for maybe a few thousand people. Subway map, again, even with these 3 subway lines that go into the other city, there is about 40,000 people that take the rail in. And there is then about, let's say 10,000, just rounding up, people that go out of the city, and then about, what is that, like 40,000 people? No, that's not even counting buses. A lot of people that just travel in through here. But then they all exit at this big-ass cloverleaf to go into the other city. So I think that does create another loop, and then, by the way, this road also carries about 18,000 cars. Yeah, just in short, this city is not really supposed to exist. Yeah, it kind of does, and really just breaks so much of the game, because how many people ride this rail? Well, we don't know. Well, surely I can just do some math, right? No. Nope. Nope. I mean, I can get an estimate from that. Nope. Nope. Yeah. This single train station is actually used by 500,000 people, which, by the way, is really cool. That is the first time that's ever happened for me. Oh, you know what? I never connected this up. Let's see if this does anything. Yeah, this could throw off the balance of the entire fucking region. Let's see. Yes. No one's using it. That's cool. Oh, hold on. It's suggesting maybe 4,000 people are using it? I can't tell. There we go. Now it's updated. How'd that change this? Oh no, we lost 100,000 people. Nope, we just went back up. Yeah. So, I have successfully built a region that is entirely dependent on mass transit. And the problem is the mass transit is completely maxed out. So, whoops. I swear, I'm gonna have to start airing PSAs in this region. Saying, please, buy a car or something, or take a bus. Carpool, please. Use the roads that we spent billions of dollars building, because no one's using them. Like, people are just using our mass transit, which we've also spent just as much money on, but it cannot keep up. Yeah, so now that I've already shown you everything I wanted to with those 6 cities, I'm not going to show you the other cities because we'll be here for the next couple hours. But I want to show you Expressway 2. So Expressway 2 actually didn't originally begin here. This was where it finished. In fact, Expressway 2 has been updated so many times that it is not really clear to me where the hell it began. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right in the middle of it, because it is actually the connecting, or the merging of several different routes. So this city that we're loading in, to give you an idea as to where we are, Portishead was over here, and then the cities after that were even further away. So this road was built, but this was the end of the road for a while, until I built Portishead. And then when I built Portishead, it ended up where there was, and I'll show this in a bit, but it ended up where that expressway ended up kind of getting downgraded to just a normal highway. So what I'm talking about is in America, in case there's anyone here watching that lives in like Spain or something, because I don't know how Spanish highways are, but at least in America, what we have is the interstate highway system and the federal highway system. The general rule of thumb for the difference between a federal highway and interstate highways, even though they are both funded by the federal government, the interstate is supposed to have no lights on it, no stopping, nothing like that, and it is always limited access. And what that means is, in order to get on and off of this road, you have to have exits. A federal highway, such as US 101 on the West Coast, can have portions that are like this, where you have exits and whatever, because there's just that much traffic that having a stoplight here would not work. But when you're in less populated areas, such as when you are traveling on the Pacific Coast, you will actually have stoplights every now and again, or crossings. So what I was doing for a while is, I can kind of show this better. So this road originally was built as an extension of this road. So this road was here. There was a whole junction here with an avenue. You can kind of see the remnants of it. And then it kept going this way. And then there was this road here that goes through many different cities. Okay? And the road technically began sort of here, but as an avenue, and it made for a very weird interchange where you actually had to get off of the highway to get onto another highway that was equally as, built. Basically, imagine, actually, example of this in the interstate network. Remember when I said they weren't supposed to be stoplights? Yeah, actually, that rule is broken if you are traveling the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Because there's a point on I-70 where it, you just have a glorified rest stop of a town, and then you had to get back onto the interstate because they couldn't build a like proper connecting point there or something. Yeah, whatever. This was a really weird thing I remember seeing once. And, yeah, it's, just bizarre as fuck. That was kind of what was going on here, so I decided to fix it up. Now, what ended up happening was I then realized, oh, wait a minute. This goes through a couple of different cities. Like, I think at least one more or two more, where there's a lot of people that would travel on this road. Why not connect it to the rest of everything else and just make it a direct route? So, in effect, on this road, if you go straight, that's the exit. And there's plenty of examples of that in the interstate system. Like, mostly I can think of ones that are in, like, northeast. But, yeah. If you go straight, sometimes that could be an exit, so you would just keep right. Yeah, I mean, that's just how it is. So, you can see that the idea here is that you would stay on this ramp, and then there'd be another exit here that goes over here, and you continue on to the next city. Here, same thing. If you go right, you'll stay on the road, but you'll have to merge. It's fine. There actually used to be a junction here, which is why this exit exists now. But then I said, fuck that, and built something better. And then because of that, because these two expressways got merged together into one, well, what does that mean for the avenue here? Well, nothing. It just kind of becomes a glorified exit for this road. And if you want to get onto this road, you have to turn right and get on here. If you want to go from here to here, you just stay on the expressway. If you want to go here to here or here to here, you go this ramp or get on here. This is a really complicated exit that took a long time to figure out without having to demolish so much shit. And the fact that it even is functional is mind-blowing to me. I say very sarcastically. So, then there's this bit of road, and you may be wondering, well, what the fuck is this? Well, this is a connecting road that connects up directly to Expressway 2. And a consequence of this is, the reason why this exists is because how I end up doing some of the tolling systems as the game freezes up and I can't do shit for some reason. There we go. You can see that there is no direct connection from, let's call this Expressway 1 to Expressway 2, except for right here. And then how do you get from Expressway 2 west to this road? The answer is you don't, really. You are shit out of luck. In reality, what you gotta do is... Oh, actually, yeah, there is no... yeah, no, you're just shit out of luck. You can exit here, go here, turn left, go down here, turn right, and eventually have an entrance back on. Or you just suffer and have to go like 10 miles out of your way. Yeah. But this whole thing was a relatively new thing I built. Because originally this was actually a sunken road, which you can kind of see the remnants of with how I built the road. So this road actually was the exiting path for this side of the road. And there actually used to be a intersection here. So this whole stretch of road, not only did I demolish the whole thing and rebuild it, because it used to be like default Maxis highway, I swapped it out and upgraded it to a fully functioning part of Expressway 2. Because then you look at the ramps and it's a similar thing to the other one, where left 2 lanes, you exit. Right 2 lanes, you stay on the highway. Yeah. And then you meet up with everything else. And then this little thing was a, like, carpool thing I was wanting to do. And it actually was very fucking successful. But then I built all of these extra subway tubes. And it ended up pretty much making it where this entire highway system was pointless. Yeah. I'm not joking, by the way. Like, these subways actually made all my highways just pointless. So... on one hand, I'm kind of happy, but on the other, I'm also a little annoyed that there isn't a balance between the two. Before we go over to the city that is over here on this, on the, like, top of the screen, we're actually going to take a step back to Portishead just so I can show you a little detail about Expressway 2. So, Expressway 2, when I told you that it originally ended. Now, it has had several changes to its endpoints. Pretty much whenever the city got built, it would be stretched out more. So, in Portishead, it actually went down to... Oh, cool. The game crashed. Okay, well, I've been recording for an hour and a half. Honestly, I think I will call it there for SimCity 4 right now. I know I did not finish talking about Expressway 2, but I did at least talk about my cities. So, if you want me to talk more about Expressway 2, talk about more of my cities, then, yeah, let me know. Otherwise, I think how I'm going to end this video is just by saying that SimCity 4 is still surprising to me that there's so much that you can still do with it. And it really has been only recently that I've actually just been hitting the limit on what the game can even fucking process, it seems. Though it still seems like it can process some things just fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if I end up actually just hitting a limit at some point. It does make me wonder how the fuck I can fix the whole demand problem, as I was showing you, where I want to keep playing the region, but I almost feel like I'm going to have to install one of those demand mods that just maxes out demand and pretty much into creative mode with SimCity 4. Because there really isn't much left. Like, I'm not even really playing... Like, the game isn't that hard, that's the thing. Especially for me. Because once you start getting millions of dollars, and at this point in the region, you can just build a city that immediately is going to get $100,000 in taxes every month. It ends up not being difficult. It ends up being kind of like Open TTD, where you get enough money and you can just dick about and do whatever the fuck. So, because of that, I kind of don't even really care if I play the game legitimately anymore, because I just want to make a thing that's cool. So that's the thing, is I'm split between if I want to actually install a demand mod or not and further fuck up my whole region. Or see if there's a way, like, keep the challenge and see if I can somehow fix this. If anyone has some ideas, I would actually be interested in that. Because there might be something that I am missing. Otherwise, yeah, again, if anyone wants to see the rest of my region and me talking about and rambling about expressways for like an hour, let me know. I can easily do that. Anyway, one final thing I do want to say again. So, SimCity 4 Devotion. This is just something I want to talk about for a moment, because the website is actually down at the moment, because of some, like, PHP upgrade that was going on, apparently. Now, one thing that is really cool about this, is, it seems like that... they are trying to keep the old forums archived. This was something that I was just reading about on the front page, because you can't really access the website at the moment. It looks like that this is going to be something that is, quote-unquote, no more with the SimCity 4 community, is the SC4 Devotion forums. Now, they are going to be archived from what it looks like, based off of what this front page is currently saying. But this is going to be very interesting to see how this just pans out, because on one hand, I am glad that they are going to keep these and have them archived. To me, it kind of just marks a new point in gaming as a whole. Now, it's not caused by SimCity 4, obviously, but just seeing that even SimCity 4 is changing with the times to do this, where we don't really have the video game forum anymore, if you think about it. Like, really, the website that kind of killed the old school video game forum was Reddit, I'd say. And, yeah, at this point, it's actually kind of interesting seeing a genuinely very old video game forum sort of shut down, but still be around for archival reasons. And again, I appreciate that part, because that was something that really was a big theme in my SimCity 4 video. Hell, we would be losing a lot of stuff if the Lex forums just got deleted. Like that video I made specifically talked about city journals, which are a pretty unique thing to SimCity 4, and relatively speaking, just city builder games as a whole. but losing some of these city journals due to the forums being being deleted would be a big blow to the community. So again, very good that this is being archived. It's just, again, an interesting thing to note with just how times have changed with video games, where you don't really have a forum anymore. That would just be on Reddit. And really, it seems like the whole community, generally, from what I have been looking at, it seems like it has just moved to something like the SC4 Devotion Reddit. Just a little update I wanted to make about the SimCity 4 community right at the end of the video, because this is going on. And yeah, honestly, I hope that the site does come back relatively soon, because I don't think you can really download too much at the moment. They actually do allow, interestingly, they actually do have a bunch of downloads up on the front page right now, mainly like the most common ones, and even a mod pack for SimCity 4 that is all of the like common dependencies, it looks like. If you don't know about what dependencies are in SimCity 4, basically it was a way to make like files kind of smaller. That way you wouldn't have to have duplicates of the exact same texture. You could just have one file and then have a bunch of buildings that linked to that file, i.e. some kind of texture, some kind of prop. Buildings themselves are props, so you could have buildings that are shared across multiple lots, that kind of stuff, where it was a very smart way of doing that. But the problem is that you end up with, as you may have seen in some of my cities, boxes appearing because it's trying to call up a building prop that doesn't exist in your plugins folder. Anyway, that was another ramble. I think that it's awesome, though, that they are combining some of these dependencies together into something that you can just download and just get installed on a computer. Especially now that internet isn't dial-up, you can actually do this, and it would be relatively reasonable. So, community still isn't dead. There's what looks to be maybe a new era of SC4 Devotion, and I think Simtropolis is still around. I'm pretty sure that nothing has changed with Simtropolis. I'm checking right now. Yeah, Simtropolis is still around. It still looks exactly the same. So, the current health of the SimCity 4 community, I'd say, is still pretty great, all things considered. Subscribe to the channels. Let me know if you want more SimCity 4. I'm out.